Well, hello, my friends. This is Janet with PV&J Crafty Room, also known as Janet's Junkie Jam, and I am here to show you easy ways to bind your journal. Aren't these recipe journals fun? I love Paperomia's designs. So full of detail. I don't know how far you got on yours. I don't quite have mine done yet, but I'm loving what's going on so far. Anyway, okay, so let's just get right to it. Please forgive my background. You are seeing my messy craft room. But anyway, okay, I'm going to shift you down so that you can see what I'm going to be working on and showing you. So hang tight with me a minute while I try to get this monster to do what I want him to do. Okay, so I have a few samples here. Easy ways to bind a journal or a folio or anything that you want to bind. The easiest, totally possibly easiest way to bind one is not to bind it. You alter a book. Many of your favorite crafters alter books. This was, I don't know, probably a journal. Oh, you know what? See in here, it says project date. So this was some sort of a journal. And see, I put a cover on it. I didn't get it finished, but I did get it started. And I think the easiest way to bind a journal is not to bind it. You just pick a book. You can buy them at the Dollar Tree or anywhere. And it doesn't even have to be a blank book. Excuse me. I've left a lot of the pages. I've ripped some of them out to make room for like thick things and whatever. And see, this is going to be a real journal. Oh, excuse me. I don't know, I kicked up some dust or something. But anyway, see, I don't have it done, but I do have it started. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, that's the easiest way to bind a journal, is just to make a journal out of a book. Okay, so if you want, if you want to bind a journal that you make, now here's one I bought at the Dollar Tree. This is a journal. It's a blank journal with blank pages. And the way they bound this one is they stapled it. Can you see the staples? One staple here, one staple here. So see, they didn't really give it a spine. See, they just folded all of this. They folded everything and stapled it. Well, they folded it so they could see the crease. And see, the insides of the staples are here. So when they stapled it, they had it this way. And then they just stapled it down like this. I bought this at the Dollar Tree. So you could call this a professionally bound book with staples. Another, let's see, I think that's the only one I have stapled. I don't think I have my stapled ones here. Okay, the next easy one I want to show you is to glue them. Now what I did with this one, see, I glued the pages in. And what I did, I think this is called cheating, but you know, it works. Look, it looks like a book, doesn't it? What I did was I took these digitals and I glued the back side of this digital to the back side of this digital. And you could put, you know, washi tape or lace or something on the edge, but apparently the glue I used was real good because it's all totally glued. And doing it this way, you could leave like the top open for a pocket or the side open. But that's how I have done this whole book. I just glued the back of one digital to the back of another digital, and it flips like a book, it looks like a book, it reads like a book. So once I got all of those glued together, did I staple this one? No, I didn't staple this because I really wouldn't know where to staple it. But see what I did? Now this probably is not going to take a whole lot of wear and tear unless you used heavier cardstock on your front pages. So see, I took the back of this digital and glued it to my cover. So you can see that in the spine right there. And when I bend it like this, you can see it. And I did the same thing back here. Here's a paper clip, but see, I glued the back of this digital to the cover. Now that's another way to bind a book, and it's a book. I'm not so sure I would do it this way if I had more than just a few pages in here. Like if I had a 50-page or a 100-page book, I don't think I would do it this way because the pages are a little bit stiff because of all the glue. And unless you used heavier cardstock, there's going to be a lot of stress on here, you know, the more you open it and close it. Okay, so I am a big fan of glue. Here's another one. Here's another one that I did, and I glued the spine and then put lace over it. This one is interesting because I used envelopes. Well, this is a paper clip or something. But see, all of these are envelopes. And what I did was I took one envelope and I laid another envelope on top of it. How did I do this? And I laid in, oh, see right in the middle? I've got washi tape here, so I glued them. I'm sure I glued them. That's how I did this. I did this one a long time ago. But let's see, where's the middle? Yeah, that's how I did it. So I took however many envelopes I wanted to do. We'll say 4 envelopes. I had envelopes here at one point, but anyway, I took, here, let me use this for an example. Well, okay, we'll just say, I don't know where my recipe cards are. Oh, here. This is my signature that I'm going to put in the journal I'm going to show you. So I'll just use this. Pretend these are envelopes. So see, I have one envelope laid on top of another envelope, laid on top of another envelope, laid on top of another envelope, and I glued down the spine. So I glued this envelope down, you know, and opened it up and pressed it, and I glued this envelope down and opened it up and pressed it, and I glued just right here on the spine and pressed it down, and then, you know, then you got a whole lot of signatures. And what I did was I went in between each one and I put washi tape here so you can't see any of the seams. But I think it looks kind of nice. It's glued. Now this one is a little bit, you know, stiff. And I don't know, part of that's probably the glue, part of it's probably because they're envelopes. But after I got done gluing the envelopes together, oh, look what I did. I glued, I ought to get wise one of these times. When you glue the spine thing together here, you really should put a piece of cardboard against this so it looks like a professionally, you know, glued spine. But I didn't. What I did was kind of like that other book. I glued the back of this envelope to my cover. And I glued the back of this envelope to my cover. So it looks like a book. I mean, it reads like a book, it opens like a book. It's just a little bit stiff. But the point that I'm making is when you're new to junk journaling, everything is scary. I was scared. I was so scared to bind a journal that I didn't. I just stuck to making ephemera. I made tags, I made pockets, I made any ephemera as long as I didn't have to bind a journal because I was so afraid I would do it wrong. Well, you cannot really do it wrong because even if you do it wrong, that's a learning experience, and it's kind of very important to have learning experiences so you know how not to do it and how to do it. Okay, so enough with the gluing. If you want to glue a journal, again, see, this is a small journal, you know, small in size, but also small in numbers of pages. I would not glue a journal that was going to be a lot of pages, but after I got done gluing it, I just wanted the spine to look special, so I put lace there. Okay, so that's another one. So here's the one I'm going to actually show you today. Oh, look at this one. This one is stapled. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had stapled this one. This one is a steampunk journal. Well, I'm not so sure it's a journal. I think a journal can be any size. But I did my cover. I think I did this out of a big old brown envelope. And I left the end pockets open. Anyway, that's how I made the cover. And then I, you know, took steampunk images and glued them down. But that's how I made the cover. And then I got my signature and I laid it down here. I made it the right size for the cover, and I stapled it. Now, I'm a big fan of stapling because I don't sew. If you sew, sewing probably is not scary to you, but I don't sew. I've watched a lot of people sew. My family members sew. I don't really sew. I've never sewed. I'd like to sew. I will learn to sew. I'm working with a couple people on getting a sewing machine and learning how to sew because I think it ups the look. It kind of upscales the look of your projects when you sew. But anyway, so here's staples. Now, if you're going to staple, and let me get my stapler here. Now, some staples have a big bite. See, they'll take a lot of paper before they hit the end of their limit to stapling. I must have stapled this book with this stapler because, see, it will reach all the way to the middle. If you have a book, we'll say, if this book was this wide, this stapler would not work. So the way I would do that is I would open my stapler. Now, if you've gone to school or watched, you got to be smarter than a stapler. Some staplers have a button. Some just pull open. This one has a button that I just figured out. So you open the stapler, and so you want to staple your page like this, but if I did it right here, the staple would go through the book and through the table. And I've done that, so I know from experience, it will go through whatever your project is laying on. So I didn't get my lid. Well, I have a lot of tin cans around, and I have found that the lid of a tin can is good for being your base to lay this on. Or if you have a metal plate, lay it down. Anything metal will keep the staple from penetrating down into it. Or, now I had somebody suggest this, you could use 4 or 5 sheets of paper, fold them over, and put those down. Now the staple will go into them, but after you get done, you pull this away from the paper, and then you'd have to bend the backs of these down. But that's how you do it if your book is wider than your stapler can staple. Okay, that's the end of the stapling. But then, I guess it's not the end yet. But see, after I stapled them, now I stapled it so that the real nice finished side was in the middle. So then I had the back side out here. And I covered it up with, this is actually masking tape. And I took brown and black and white paint and kind of slopped it on here to make it look, you know, old or rusted, or which goes with the steampunky theme. Okay, so there we go. That's all of the stapling. But you can staple any amount of pages. It's just that if you had a lot of pages, you probably would want to use 8 or 9 or probably 10 at the most. Staple those, and then staple this into your book, and then go and do another 8 or 9 or 10 pages. Staple that, and then staple it into your book. So you would have signature after signature stapled into your spine. That'd be how to do that one. But this is the one I'm going to show you today, and I think this is the absolute easiest way. And I know one crafter, I wish I could remember her name. If I told you who it was, I'm sure you would know, because she's one of the big guns in junk journaling. Go look up YouTube under what would this be called? I don't know. Book binding, string binding, I guess. So anyway, this is one that I did, and I don't remember if I did this for steampunk or if I started this for Harry Potter, but I didn't get it done. But I did, I was playing with the signatures. I did get the signatures put in. This one has, how many does it have? 1, 2, 3. It's got 3 signatures. 3 signatures. Now the beautiful part of this, very easy. This is like the easiest one ever. And again, when I first started junk journaling, I didn't bind anything because I was so afraid. I was scared to do the wrong thing. I was scared I don't know what I was scared of, but if you're scared, don't be, because paper is your friend. Cardstock is your friend. Junk journaling is for everybody, I'm telling you. So the beautiful part of this, and I think this is why this one goes so well with the recipe journal, is you can take the signatures out at will and change them. So let me get this whole signature out. Okay, that's the whole signature. And see, I just have a string here, and I actually have 3 of them. So here's another signature that will come out if I wanted to. And where's the 3rd one? Here's the 3rd one. The only thing about this one is sometimes your pages shift. You know, they're not real even. You know, they're not real even, and that's okay. I think that lends to the recipe and the vintagey part of this project, this vintage recipe journal that we're working on. So you take your signature, have whatever pages you want to do. I just didn't have any doilies, or I had to put a doily in here. Okay, where's my signature? I got it mixed up with my other pages here now. Where is this? Okay, I think this one is my signature, and these are the pages that are already in here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it, but I just want to show you why this one is so cool and so super easy. Anybody can do it. You don't have to measure. You don't have to worry about nothing. See, you just pull this up. You slip your pages in, or recipes, or whatever you're doing. You slip it in like this. And voila, it's done. The important thing is, now I had somebody the other day tell me they did this, and they used stretchy string. I would advise against using stretchy string because it stretches. So therefore, your signatures actually feel like they're falling out, and they might if your string stretches too much. But I used twine on this one because it went with the theme that I was going with. You can use, here, I'll get the project over here. You can use anything to do this with. You can use ribbon. See, here's ribbon. You can use ribbon. You can use lace. You can use twine. I'm going to use string. If I haven't completely lost my string, here it is. I'm going to use string. But you could also use ribbon. I probably would not use lace just because of the sliding papers in and out. And while this may not be your journal, your journal, you can still bind stuff this way. And you can bind journals or folios or whatever you want with this method of any size. You can bind journals of 400 pages with this method, or journals with 4 pages. So there is really no limit at all. So in the steampunk one, in this one that I just showed you, I have 3 signatures. I have 3 strings here. So you can tell how many signatures it's got by how many strings are hanging out here. So in this one, I'm only going to put one signature, and I've lost my signature. It turned into one page here. Oh, no, I think this page fell out of another signature from somewhere. Don't you love all these vintage stuff? And Paperomia is giving us so many awesome freebies. I just love it. I love watching all the videos of the crafters. They're so creative. And I just love this paper bag technique. Mine isn't finished, but I'm going to use this one for a journal. So anyway, okay, one signature. So when you're doing this with string or ribbon or twine or whatever, you want to measure this. So you want to go, what I like to do is I like to start my string at the top of my book and be generous. You can always cut it off later. So I'm going to do one signature. So I'm going to wrap it from the outside to the inside and back up and around all the way down to the bottom. And this is where I'm going to cut it. See how generous I'm being? It's not an exact measure. This is where I'm going to cut it. And the only thing I really have to decide is, do I want it tied on the outside or on the inside? Now this one is tied on the outside, and I like it. It goes with the theme. But if you have a theme or you don't like that look, you can certainly tie it on the inside. And you don't have to tie a bow. I think I have this in a double knot so it won't come apart. You don't have to tie a bow. You can just tie a knot. And then you can cover it, which is what I'm going to do with this one. So I have my string wrapped around here, so you can see this, and I'm going to pull it, not so it's so tight that it rips the bag, but so that it's down in here. Yeah, I didn't get any of my inside done, but anyway, I'm going to pull it here so that it is, where is it here? Got too many folds in my paper bag. But I used the whole paper bag. I was waiting for her to tell us which part of the bag to cut off, and she said, nope, use the whole bag. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so I'm going to pull this so that it's tight enough. Oh, I lost one of the ends. That's why it's not getting tighter. So that it's tight enough. There. Tight enough Hang on, I got all these folds. I don't know how she dealt with all those folds. But anyway, you want it tight enough so that you can actually slip your hand under it. But not that you can play with it like this. You don't want it this loose. You want it tight enough so that, see how tight I'm pulling it? You don't want it that tight. You want it tight enough so it's snug. Just tight enough so it's snug. And I think I'm going to, oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to tie this one on the inside. I think I am going to do that. Now this one doesn't really have a spine, it's just folded over. So I'm going to be careful to try to make sure that it stays on that. And then after we get this done, I'm going to turn it over and cover the spine. I like covering the spine, like if you're folding, if you don't really have a spine. If you don't really have a spine, then it's, unless you have a really super thick cover like this. See, I've got 3 here. And they stay here pretty good. But this is just folded, but actually this is real hard board. So I kind of rolled that spine. So this one, let's see, what am I going to do with this? Let's tie it in a knot. See, that got too loose. I don't want it that loose. I wonder if I could untie that. I can, because it's still got a loop there. See, it's still got a loop. So I pulled the loop out. Okay. I just want it snug. This might be a good project for a friend or a kid to help you with. Borrow their finger. Put their finger right there on the knot. But that's okay. We'll figure it out here. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I have a knot. Now if I want to tie a bow, I can. And I'll tie a bow just because I don't know what I want yet. So I'll tie a bow. Well, maybe I'll tie a bow. You have to actually know how to tie a bow before you can. But I'm like the other crafters. I like hearing the paper crackle. Okay, so there's a bow for now because I don't really know what I want to do. And where's my signature? Here's my signature. Why are these called signatures? Because I always thought a signature was signing your name. But apparently it's more than that. So see, this one goes in real nice, and if I fold these in, that might kind of help to keep it right there. And there it is. Okay, so now I have 1 string out here. 1 string. Now you don't have to cover it. It'll be just fine like this. But because this is a recipe journal, and I think these were freebies. They are the freebies that we got in the Paperomia group. And this is another one. So I was thinking I would take this and cover it like this. Now see, if I glue this down, glue this all the way down, it will also glue it to the string. Or if I don't want to glue the string, you know, I don't have to put glue back there. But if I glue the string down, then I don't have to worry about it sliding right here. But I don't think it'll slide anyway on this paper bag. Let's do that. And because this is all cardstock, I'm using Mod Podge only because I'm almost out of my other glue, which seems to have fallen off the table. Anyway, it was closed up, so I'll find it and I'll get it back where it needs to go. But I'm just using Mod Podge. And do you realize that Mod Podge is just like Elmer's glue watered down? I looked for some homemade recipes for Mod Podge, and that is how they showed me how to make it. Because I ran out of Mod Podge and, you know, didn't have time to go to the store. Now, if you don't like using your finger, you know, use a paper towel or a Q-tip. I'm a messy crafter. I like hands-on crafts. The only thing is, you got to have a paper towel close by so that you don't get the glue on your project. Okay, so now I got to figure out where I want this. See, that's what I got on my back. I'm probably going to want it right here about her arm, and I think that's about the middle. Yeah, I want it right there. Now, I had it folded in the middle. That's one thing I like about Mod Podge is it grabs a hold real quick. Well, that's nice on her arm, but I don't like it that close to that sign. So, there. I think that's going to be good. We'll see where it is on the back here in a second. So, now I've glued that down. And I simply used this because I think it kind of matches this. I kind of like what's going on here. It kind of looks like a vintage recipe journal. And my grandma had, you know, she had a grandma's recipe book, and her book had red and white checkers on it. So I love the red and white checkers with whatever your theme is going on here, whatever images you're using. I was so glad to see Paperomia come out with red and white checkers, because to me, that says Grandma's Journal, red and white checkers. I'm not upset with that, and that's the one thing about using Mod Podge is, you know, it dries pretty quick. So if you don't, I usually end up putting extra Mod Podge on the last little bit that I glued, because it dries so quick. Well, and I don't put a real thick layer on too. If I put a real thick layer on, it would be gooping out everywhere. But anyway, and gluing this has no impact on the inside of the journal. And see, I'm going to move these because I don't know how this is going to move all these pieces together yet. But see, here's my signature, and it comes out real easy, and I can add pages, take pages out, I can write on them, I can shift them around, I can turn them upside down if I want, and I can put them back in, because that gluing that thing on the outside just ensures the string stays there, but it doesn't impact it on the inside. Now, if you don't like this bow, you could cut it off. You could put washi tape here, but if you put washi tape on this and tape it down, then this page would be semi-permanent. Otherwise, you'd have to rip the washi tape when you got it out. But you could still do that. Just leave this page permanent, and the rest of the signature would come out. But anyway, so now, if you are a beginner, I highly, highly, highly suggest you try this method with your recipe journal. Don't worry about binding kits and taking binding lessons, because when you get a little more experience under your belt, then you can go searching binding tutorials and binding kits. But for me, I have a binding kit. I can show it to you. This is why I was scared of binding a journal. This is my binding kit. I think I paid a whopping $5 for this on Temu. I think Amazon has them too. Oh, this is extra stuff for crafting that I just stuck in here. So all of this came in the binding kit, plus the string that I used, and it had a bone folder in it. That's the main reason why I bought this, because it had a bone folder in it, and I couldn't find bone folders. But anyway, this has a knife. This is a knife, and it has poker tools. It has 3 poker tools. Now, after you get some experience and you find a real good tutorial, these are going to be real good to use. But for new beginners who are staying away from binding something because they're scared, don't mess with this. Don't even go searching for it, because after you get some experience under your belt, then you can go do this. But binding should in no way be terrifying. I was so scared of binding, and I actually thought about quitting crafting, quitting my junk journaling, because I didn't want to learn how to bind a book. And then I realized, hey, binding a book does not mean you have to have a degree. All you got to do is have some string or a stapler. Look, again, I bought this from the Dollar Tree. $1.25 tree. But anyway, stapled. And I don't know how many pages this has got in it. It's got a lot of pages in it. So, binding a book should not be scary. And I kind of like this. If you don't like red and white, please leave me a comment. Let me know. If you do like red and white on your recipe journals, please leave me a comment and let me know. Do you like what's going on in this recipe challenge? Is there something else you'd like to see? Leave me a comment. And if you don't totally hate this video, then if you would hit the like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Or share the video. You know, you don't actually have to spend money with a crafter in order to support them, because all you have to do is hit the like button and maybe a comment, even just a hi or I don't like this video, or any comment. That shows Facebook that you like my video, and it gives Facebook a reason to to make sure that you can find my videos. Oh, I think there's a notification button somewhere too. You are welcome to hit that if you want to. You don't have to. If you want to private message me, please feel free. And I will see you on the next video. And if you're in this recipe challenge, yay for you for trying a challenge, because just stepping up to the plate and saying, yes, I will, is half the battle. So have fun with your recipe journals, and I am looking forward to seeing all your progress. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.